this warrior's attitude is something that we need more of. It's something that's important because it is the counter to this tendency that we're currently experiencing where the solution to everything is to like bubble wrap the world, right? Where everything is becoming safer and safer. And there's this great concern of, is everyone safe? Is everyone comfortable? And I think right now what we're experiencing is that being taken too far. And I think so it's in a literal sense. I remember when I was a kid on playgrounds, the kinds of things that were on playgrounds compared to what you see on playgrounds now. And you can really see that there's this trend of everything gets like rounded off, smoothed off. You can't climb as high anymore.
Right.
And it's all in service of, let's make it safer. I remember like one playground I played at when I was a kid had like a rusty old bulldozer just standing there as a thing as an object for kids to climb on and play with, right?
Right.
You would never see that anymore because it was full of like sharp edges and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So now I think if you proposed, hey, let's put this on the playground, the response would be some regulator or whatever would be like, no, we cannot absolutely look, there's a sharp edge here, people could get hurt here. So we're not having that. And instead we'll have like a rounded off plastic thing, right?
Yeah.
Of course it comes from a good place. It's like, hey, we don't want kids to get hurt. Okay, makes sense. The problem is that the more you round off the edges of everything, the safer you make everything, the lower people's capability becomes, right? And eventually, so it goes from, you have kids like climbing on the tree and whatnot, and every once in a while someone, one of them falls out of the tree and breaks their leg, to like, even though everything's rounded off and smoothed off, now the kid trips and breaks his leg, right? Because it's just so fragile, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And in many ways that literally happens. Like for example, your immune system gets weakened if it's protected too much, right? So if you disinfect everything and you keep yourself from every possible harm and every possible pathogen, you just become more fragile.
Yeah, you're actually a weaker person. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, it makes you a weaker person. So I think the counter to that, right? I'm not saying like, oh, let's make the world more dangerous, but the counter to this tendency of everything has to be safe, everything has to be trigger warning, safe space, smoothed off, bubble wrapped.
Right.
The counter to that is, hold on, another solution to prevent the harm you're trying to prevent is to make people stronger and more resilient. And that is something that, as if you're doing the warrior thing, you're choosing to role model that.
Right.
I am someone who, I am capable of navigating a dangerous physical landscape, right? Because I'm not that fragile. I'm also capable of navigating a difficult social situation, right? I'm not easily offended. Basically, right? Think about the difference between being so fragile that you're like, oh, there's certain words that I can't hear, right? You can't, because what did I recently see? Like in a Google Doc thing, someone typed something about property and wrote landlord, and there was a highlight on landlord, be like, oh, some people might be offended by this term, maybe use the term proprietor or property owner or whatever instead. It's like, oh, why is that? So wait, landlord, why? Because there's some connection to slavery or something, and some people are going to be like so triggered just seeing the word landlord, right? It's like, think about how fragile you are, if that's the case, versus I'm comfortable to say, do your best, try to hurt my feelings, right?
Right.
I'm going to be fine. Listen, you can do it. Fucking do it. Come up with the worst possible thing you can say to me, and I'm going to be perfectly fine. And this is not just because, it's not that, I lived a life completely free of trauma or anything. It's because if I have trauma in my life, I'm like, let's fucking deal with it. Let's deal with this. I don't want to retreat and be like, oh my God, nobody can mention this thing that reminds me of my trauma, right?
Yeah, good point. And man, just on the bubble wrapping the world thing, right? I also think what you said, let's make everybody safe. But I also think that another major factor in all this is accountability.
Yeah.
Right. So for example, if someone's kid gets hurt in my playground, so instead of the parents being like, oh, my kid is clearly a fucking moron, let me teach this kid not to do this again. It's like, no, your playground is unsafe because little Timmy fucking got injured here. It's like, well, you know what? Fuck little Timmy. Teach him how to be a stronger person, so next time he doesn't do stupid shit.
Yeah, and I mean, it's for sure, if the immediate responses are, oh, okay, you're going to get sued, and it's going to be, and it's an opportunity. It's basically an opportunity for me to make money by suing whoever.
Yeah, and that's also an incentive, yeah. And by the way, I was, kind of using hyperbole here to emphasize
Yeah.
the ridiculousness of the situation. I don't actually mean,
Yeah.
someone
Well-
named Timmy and fuck him.
Yeah.